Welcome to Vsb News Online for Wednesday, May the 20th. I'm Charles Webb. In an effort to put an end to what he called the misinformation and misunderstanding surrounding the redevelopment of the L.F. Wade International Airport, Finance Minister and Deputy Premier E.T. Bob Richards today presented the key players in the development, which is expected to take 40 months to complete beginning in 2016. On hand to give their involvement in the project were the President and CEO of Canadian Commercial Corporation, Martin Zablocki, John Beck, Executive Chairman of ACON, and Steve Nakin, President of ACON Concessions, which built airports in Quito, Ecuador, Budapest, and Prague.
What CCC does is enter into government-to-government contracts with foreign governments to provide goods and services from Canada. And in our model, the benefits that will pass to Bermuda and other nations is that the CCC guarantees the terms and conditions of those contracts and makes sure the projects transpire in terms of budget and time. What does this mean for Bermuda? It means that it's a low-risk procurement option. It means the procurement happens faster than a traditional procurement model. It means it's less costly. The banking community is comforted with the Government of Canada guarantee, and it makes projects more bankable. And CCC, as a government institution, has the highest ethics and values that we deploy in all of our projects.
For those of you who are not familiar with ACON, we're Canada's premier infrastructure development and construction company. For over 130 years, ACON has been building Canada's landmarks, transportation networks, energy infrastructure, and most of Canada's airports. ACON is a publicly listed company with a stringent and unwavering code of ethics, is recognized as a leader in safety, is one of the best 50 employers in Canada. It's a category that describes the best employers in the country, and is a top-tier contractor with a proven record in execution.
CCC and ACON successfully opened the new Quito International Airport in Ecuador, replacing an antiquated, unsafe, undersized airport with the most modern airport in Latin America. That project was originally beset with seemingly insurmountable challenges as to how it could be done, due to a combination of government's financial limitations and considerable geopolitical issues. I'm proud to say, standing here with CCC, that we figured it out. Not only did the country get a new airport, the Quito Airport project is the recipient of many prestigious international awards, including awards for financing, environmental sustainability, corporate social responsibility, and in 2014, the Global Travel Award for Best Airport in South America. The need for a significant upgrade to Bermuda's airport and primary gateway has been widely known in the international community for many years. It was no secret. And from our perspective, there were a few factors that seemed to make the CCC deal, the CCC model, an excellent fit for Bermuda. These included strong and very deep Canada-Bermuda roots, Bermuda needing to avoid increasing its already significant public debt, what looked like an irreconcilable gap between the estimated capital cost of the airport as it was at the time and economic realities of the day, and finally declining passenger traffic since the 2008 recession, dipping well below 1 million passengers a year.
There's been a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding out there, some of it justified, some of it not. But what I believe this press conference brings is clarity, a chance for Bermudians to understand what we're trying to achieve, and also a chance for you, the press, and through you, Bermudians themselves, to see and meet the people that we are doing business with, and to have a look at their credentials, their track records, and see the kind of organizations they represent, see the kinds of people they are. And when you look at that, you'll see that the characterizations that have been made of these business partners we're developing is completely off base and unjustified.
The saga of the stranding of the Norwegian Dawn, which could have been so much more serious, turned into an all's well that ends well story today. Brian Darby has the details.
After a delay of nearly 24 hours due to steering malfunction and contact with the reefs, the cruise ship Norwegian Dawn set sail for Boston late this afternoon. She departed late yesterday afternoon, but shortly after 5 she hit a reef and had to be refloated by local tugs late last night. An underwater survey and further examination of the source of the problem was carried out by local divers, the classification surveyor and a technical team flown in by Norwegian Cruise Lines, and the vessel was declared shipshape. Passengers who gained an extra half day in Bermuda were back on board by noon in time for the afternoon sailing. And spokesman for the Meyer Agency, the ship's local representative, says the Norwegian Dawn will be back in Bermuda on schedule next week. Tourism Development and Transport Minister Sean Crockwell commended everyone who worked tirelessly to refloat the ship. Brian Darby reporting for Vsb News.
Police have now identified Tuesday evening's drowning victim as 25-year-old Wilmas Herrera Moreno, a Dominican Republic national. Mr. Herrera Moreno, a guest worker, was one of 5 individuals cruising in a 15-foot open boat in the waters surrounding Long Island, commonly referred to as Paradise Lake. Around 6 p.m. he encountered difficulties while swimming and the alarm was sounded. CPR was performed while he was being transported by a marine police vessel and then in the ambulance that took him to the King Edward Hospital, but he was pronounced dead at 7:10 p.m. An investigation into this sudden death is being carried out, and anyone who may have been boating in the Paradise Lake area on Tuesday afternoon is asked to contact the police at 295-0011. The PLP delegation in London is asking the British government to require the OBA to use what is termed the Swiss challenge to effect a fair and efficient decision over which contractor gets the contract to develop the LF Wade International Airport. We asked PLP backbencher Ralph Commission to explain the Swiss challenge.
Swiss challenge would be a process by which the prospective bid from, in this case, CCC/ACON, is put on the table, and then a process ensues whereby they invite other potential bidders to try to top that bid. And so this allows for a more competitive structure to be put in place. Hopefully that will produce better value for the Bermudian people. I think it's an excellent idea. But I think that there are 2 or 3 questions that we need to have answered. Now that the government knows what most of Bermuda knows with respect to those emails, how they outline the sort of collusive behavior, even fraudulent behavior when you talked about the logo being used and misrepresenting the logo of CCC by ACON. The unethical behavior, we think, in our view. Is the government still prepared to go ahead with these prospective Canadian partners? We just think that they need to do a rethink on that. Secondly, where is the Premier on this? This is an issue of high national importance. I understand about the fact that this is Minister Richard's baby, and he's leading on this, but I think now it's transcending any particular ministry, and in light of that, only the Premier can fill this vacuum. Like I said, knowing what we know now, is he and his government prepared to continue to endorse this process? Lastly, I think we also need to find out the role that persons like Mr. Michael Butt of Summers Construction have played in this. We know that he, by way of the emails, is a substantive person with respect to ACON. I believe he's on the board. I could be wrong, but I believe he's on the board of ACON. What role did he play in terms of the genesis of this matter being brought to the table? Did it come from him? Did he then prime ACON? Did ACON then, as the email suggests, then take the project to CCC? CCC acknowledged that ACON brought the project to them and not vice versa. So I think we need to know the role that Mr. Michael Butt is playing in this. And I also would direct a direct question to the Premier as to whether Mr. Michael Butt of Summers Construction is an OBA supporter and funder. I think these are legitimate questions that need to be asked in light of what is happening.
While praising Health Minister Jeannie Atherton for banning the use of the toxic pesticides Roundup in Bermuda, the environmental group Buzz, which is interested in protecting bees, wants to know why she had not also banned Rodeo, another product containing cancer-causing glyphosate. The group says the Rodeo used extensively in Bermuda and is likely to be one of the threats to the health of bees and other pollinators. Buzz, which was formed under the auspices of BEST, also said there was some urgency to implementing the regulations contained in the Pesticides Safety Act, which was passed in 2009, but never enforced. And we'll be back with more news right after this.
The Marketplace Food Court is you and your family's one-stop shop. Start your day at the Breakfast Bar with omelets made to order and traditional Bermuda codfish breakfast. The chefs will cook lunch and dinner to your liking. Along with the salad bar, sandwich bar, sushi bar, and fruit bar, the Marketplace Food Court is your kitchen away from home. Every day is hassle-free with nutritious meals from the Marketplace Food Court. Visit us 7 days a week. Homemade cooking, quality service, all at prices you can count on.
There's been a remarkable falling off in the number of inmates that reoffend after spending time at Westgate and the Co-Ed facility. Senator Jeff Barron, Junior Minister for National Security, brought the good news to the Senate today as proof that Bermuda was becoming a safer place to live.
Well, you look at the trends when looking at reoffending rates, and they're extremely positive. There's no other way to frame that, Brian. When we started looking at recidivism critically in the period that we talked about today in Senate, was the 2011, 12, then 13, and then into 14. The trends are extremely positive. We had 57 of the total inmate population, 473 people in 2011 and 12 were housed at all the facilities in corrections. And I'll get back to that figure because that's important. 57 of that total population reoffended once they were released within a certain period of time. That is what recidivism is. The next year, it dropped down to 35 offenses. The next year, into 2013-14, 11 of the total population reoffended. So we talk about high 50s reoffending, then into the mid 30s, and then 11 people reoffending. Extremely positive sign. And the total population of inmates now in all the facilities is under 250. There are a lot less people who are incarcerated in Bermuda. And why is that? Because there are a lot less people committing crime in Bermuda. Bermuda is a safer place right now. And we have to look at the whys and why that is the case. Certainly the work that's being done in the ministry, certainly the work that's being done specifically with corrections, the social programs, the police outreach. There's a ton of reasons why that is. But we have to pause and celebrate the fact that we have less people incarcerated, not because that's just sounds good, it's because less people are offending, less people are going to jail.
Employers who allow work permits to lapse before applying for renewal and keep the permit holder on the job in anticipation are risking being fined and being blackballed. The warning went out today from Minister of Home Affairs, Senator Michael Fay.
But today we wanted to take the opportunity to remind the public that the civil enforcement penalty regime is in place. And some people seem to think, oh, it's where people are totally willfully abusing immigration process. But there are employers and employees who are getting caught out because they're failing to submit their work permit applications in on time. What we wanted to do is remind the employers and the employees of the importance of making sure that they're not going to get caught out by the civil penalty regime. So the long and short of it is this. We wanted to remind people, and this will be in effect as of the 1st of June, that if you have an example whereby your work permit expires tomorrow, you can submit your new application today, but you will need to submit an appeal with that to ask the minister for permission to continue to work. because while the work permit is being processed. That doesn't mean that you may or may not get your work permit at the end of the day, but at least you put the application prior to expiry of the work permit. And if you don't, if you don't get that permission, then you must stop working at the conclusion of that work permit. If you don't, then you could be subject to the civil penalty regime of a $5,000 fine, which is not insignificant. It has happened. Some of these will be lodged. We certainly have, I've been told, about 21 cases currently being looked at, some of which can fall into that category.
In the second half of our interview with David Thompson of Bermuda Overseas Missions, we learned that this year's trip to Malawi to build homes for orphans has attracted a record number of first-timers among the 32 volunteers.
Are these returnees, most of them?
Actually, no, it's mainly newbies.
Good.
So few adults are returnees, which is really good, and that helps me a lot because I wouldn't want to carry the burden on my own shoulders. So I've got people there who know the routine and can help. A couple of kids are returnees as well, so they've got a good idea. They've been busy telling their mates, and their mates are saying, "I want to go, I want to go."
Any time a mother or father go with a child?
We actually have two parents going with their children, so it works out. It is a really good experience. I learned myself in the first trip I ever went on that you've got to separate them at the build site. I couldn't work next to my son, but it was wonderful having him there and then getting together in the evening and sharing the experiences. And so we do the same. We've got a mother and son in one case and a father and a daughter in another, and we split them up. It's the best thing, and they can spread their own wings and do their own thing and get together at night and talk about it.
I remember asking you many times, what do you get out of it? It's quite obviously what you get out of it. You get love.
It's immeasurable. I always say to people, you get back more than what you give, and that's the key. And for me too.
Do need that.
Oh, we certainly do. We need to see what's going on and how blessed we are in this island. Fundraising going on, of course. We try and help to sponsor the kids to go on these trips, and obviously we use the money to buy extra tools and materials for the build. Many of the fundraisers coming up. The big one, of course, is this Friday on the 22nd. We've got a fish fry over at Christchurch, Warwick, under the management of Keith De Silva, as usual. Keith runs a tight ship, as you know. Does a tremendous job. Tomorrow night, anybody wants to come and join me, we're scrubbing the kitchen, ready for the cooking.
And now we turn to one who's not a volunteer, Earl Baisden, with the latest from the sports desk.
Progress continues for Emirates Team New Zealand, with several of its sailing team in the UK for a testing session aboard a new AC-45F catamaran, says Emirates Team New Zealand on their social media page. The New Zealand team also made their first foray into Bermuda, hiring a boat from the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club and getting on the water for a look at Oracle Team USA sailing their AC-45S at the America's Cup venue. The visit prompted a snippy comment from the defender in the social media. It is quoted as saying, "We had a great few hours of training on the Great Sound on Tuesday, and we'd like to welcome our friends from Emirates Team New Zealand to Bermuda who came out to take a look. What took you so long, guys?" Christian Burgess and his Southwood Cricket Club first 11 teammates went down by 164 runs in their Lincolnshire County Board Premier match against Lincombe Cricket Club. Lincombe won the toss and elected to bat, and they scored 282 for 9 in their allotted 50 overs. Burgess grabbed 2 catches in the inning. In reply, Burgess and his teammates could only manage 118 runs, with Burgess batting at number 6, out for 17 off of 33 deliveries. Burgess hit 2 fours in his inning. The Harrisburg City Islanders defender Dante Levrock was named to the USL Team of the Week, while his teammate Ken Tribbett was named honorable mention following a 2-0 victory against the Charlotte Independents. Levrock and Tribbett controlled the defense against the Independents, helping to extend their unbeaten streak to 5 straight games and remain undefeated at home. Meanwhile, the Bermuda Football Association will participate in CONCACAF's Women's Football Day initiative on Saturday, May 23rd, by organizing a football skills challenge at the BFA field. Designed to empower all CONCACAF member associations to join forces for an annual day of celebration of women's football, the initiative is the first of its kind for the Confederation and focuses on accomplishing the following goals. 1. Generate awareness about the transformative power of women's football. 2. Promote and encourage continued investment in women's football. And 3. Unite every member association in creating a memorable day of women's football. Micah Franklin bowed out of the $10,000 men's Lifetime Fitness Las Vegas Squash Open. Franklin had to go through the qualifying rounds, took on Clinton Mew from South Africa. Franklin went down in the qualifying finals in 4 games to Liu. Liu won the first 2 games 11-7, 11-3 before Franklin would pull a game back, winning 11-9. Liu would then close out the match, winning the 4th game 11-7. The Bermuda Netball Association Summer League season continued with a doubleheader at Bernard Park last evening, where 78 goals were scored. The BUT Teachers defeated BPSU 32-17. Bishmael Richardson led the BUT Teachers to victory with 17 goals, while Kenlyn Smith added 10 goals. Zinzi Swan scored 3 times, and Roxanne Francis scored twice. BPSU got 8 goals each from Jatura and Jakenya Trott, while Danica Warren scored once. In the other game, showing their fancy hairdos, Family defeated BAC 17-12. Nakia Webb led the way with 10 goals, while Jalen Hines scored 7 goals for the winners. Elfrida Dill scored 6 goals for BAC, while Derica Woodley-Simons and Exane Hunt both scored 3 goals each. The Bermuda Triathlon Association has announced the Bermuda team for the NetWest Island Games to be held in Jersey. 33-year-old Tucker Murphy, who competed for Bermuda at the Commonwealth Games in 2014 and was 3rd in the Aon Sprint Championships on Sunday, will lead the men's team. He will be joined by 43-year-old Travis Cooper, who represented Bermuda at various events, including an age grouper at the World Championships. He also finished 5th on Sunday's Aon National Sprint Championships. The women's team will most likely have the best chance of collecting a medal, with Martina Olaseki Bell, who is this year already won the National Olympic and Sprint Distance Triathlon Championships. Karen Smith and Julia Hawley are likely to be in the mix, with Belinda Castry providing a base for a strong women's team. Olaseki Bell finished 8th in the Island Games back in 2013, but has improved considerably since then, and her confidence will be high going into these Jersey Games after her 2 championship wins. Her time in the Bermuda Games was 2:24.16. The bronze medal winner in 2013 was Bermuda's Laurie Orchard, who will not be in Jersey. Smith's form going into these games will be uncertain, as she is deliberately protecting a recurrent foot injury as she concentrates towards getting ready for these games, and therefore did not finish the Bermuda National Olympic nor the Sprint Distance Championships, despite leading off the bike in both events. If she can get her injury under control and get in some good running training, then Smith will more than likely be a medal winner for Bermuda in Jersey. Hawley has tremendous experience, having competed for Bermuda for many years, and was just 27 seconds behind Olaseki Bell at the Catlin Olympic Distance National Championships, where she took the silver. In the past few years, Castry has emerged as one of Bermuda's leading female triathletes, and she is noted for her strong swim and bike. Her run has been her Achilles heel, but if she can improve on that before June 28th, she should place well at these games. DeVoe Whaley competed in the Texas State Track and Field 2015 Championships at the University of Texas in Austin. Competing in the boys triple jump, Whaley finished 7th with a top leap of 14.09 meters. I'm Earl Basden reporting for VSB Sports.
Looking at the weather for Thursday, May the 21st, there will be a mix of sun and cloud. Winds will be southwesterly, light to moderate. We're expecting a high near 78 and a low near 70. This weather forecast is the courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Thanks for watching VSB News Online for Wednesday, May the 20th. I'm Charles Webb.